I work hard like I do because I like the way Sandy Young looks at me. She looks at me like I'm somebody. I like that. I like that a lot. I was the oldest son of 2 school teachers. Everybody else worked at plants. And I didn't know what they did in plants, but I knew that whatever they did, it was evil, because we never could go in my friends, when I was a kid, couldn't go in my friend's house because Daddy was asleep during the day. If he wasn't asleep, he was loud, his eyes were bloodshot, he was mean. So I just grew up thinking plants are just evil places. Now look at that house now. That's 2 adults, 5 kids. I went to LSU, no idea what I want to do with my life, no idea at all. And I hated every single day of it. So I walked around out there for 3 years, and then one day I just went home and I didn't go back. And so I found myself at 22, no job, no degree, wedding date. Not a good combination. So out of absolute desperation, I went and I applied at what was still SO for another year. It became Exxon. And I get hired as a process apprentice. But my plan was I'm gonna be there 90 days max. I worked there for 16 years, from age 22 to age 37, 1969 to 1985. So I was supposed to work the dog shift, which is nights, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night. And so I went in on Friday morning and resigned. And the guy, one of my bosses said, well, you can't resign today, you're supposed to work this weekend. I said, I know, that's part of my plan. Working nights is unnatural, okay? People are sleeping, you're working. But I told Sandy early on, I said, look, when I need you to get me up at 3 or whatever, okay? But keep the kids away from me, because I'm not responsible for anything I say when I wake up, because you feel like hell. I missed a lot of stuff. You miss a lot of stuff as a shift worker.
The things I remembered were having to be quiet during the day when he was sleeping because he had worked the night before. You know, being with my mom a lot. I don't have a ton of memories from that time. You know, we did some things as a family. You know, there were a couple of family trips, but outside of that, it wasn't really as memorable of a time, I guess.
I always wanted him to have like an 8-to-5 job and be home at night. I was just very frustrated and stressed out because I never saw him, and the kids never saw him.
I never felt one day that that's what I should be doing in my life, but you know, you get to a point where you don't have any options. I'm making $49,000, my daddy's making 15, and I'm gonna walk away from that. You know, we went from me and Sandy, we had 2 kids before we found out where kids came from, and so we just lived check to check. And so I had a brother, my younger brother, who had gotten exposed to the insurance industry. And they recruited people part-time. But I got into that company part-time to make $500 a month so I could pay tuition. I wound up making $21,000 my first year part-time. And so in 1985, I thought it made sense to resign from my $49,000 a year job with benefits to work full-time in my $21,000 a year job with no benefits. Best decision I ever made financially. That was the company where I met Brandon and Casey. That's where they came from. I mean, they left. You know, I didn't really know at the time why they left. I know it irritated me beyond belief. But they had taken Symmetry in 2009 when they started it with Brian Pope. They did $86,000 in premium their first month. I met with them 4 years to the month later, and they're doing $1 million a month. And so I came back, I resigned from the other IMO, and I came here. And so that's pretty much how I got from Exxon, and thank God Sandy Young stayed with me the whole time. You know, we just made 52 years a few months back. All of that work, all of that grief, all of that struggle, all of that molded us into who we are today.
It has been such a blessing for us. I mean, we get to help people. This is something that's very important to us, and we never could do that before. We couldn't afford to do it before, and now, you know, we've paid for funerals for people, and we've paid medical bills for people, and that means a lot to us. That means an awful lot to us to be able. It means a lot to be able to do things for people that you know are hurting or they need something. If we can help them, we're going to help them.
I had been married for almost 25 years. Not the healthiest of relationships. And it was deteriorating by the moment, really. And I found myself in a situation where I knew that for my safety and my son's safety that we had to get out of that situation. You know, apartment life isn't really super easy, and so I don't really know what this is going to look like. I don't know what the timing is going to be. I don't know how to make it all work. I can't just buy a house right now. And my dad, being the dad that he is, says, yeah, but I can. And I'm like, you're not gonna buy me a house. Like, that's absurd, you know? Who does that? Danny and Sandy Young, that's who.
When she decided that she was gonna leave and move back down here, I'm telling you, it wasn't 20 minutes. I'm looking around. The guy that built this house, built that house right over there, right behind us, and it was for sale. So I called the real estate lady, and I said, ask Steve what he'll sell that house for. And she said, okay. It was just awesome to be able to do that. And of all the things, I'm telling you, of all the things we've been able to do from a financial standpoint, that was probably the most satisfying, to be able to do that for her. And then because of Symmetry, because she worked hard, I think 11 months into living in a house we bought, she got it in her name. That's pretty cool.
When you can impact somebody that way and you see how much it meant to them, that's when you know, without a doubt, that you just made a huge impact in somebody's life. God, that's so special.
And there were times where I wanted to do things for people and I couldn't afford to. This thing lets you do things. You know, most people are out there having to lower their dreams to match their income. Symmetry will let you increase your income to match your dreams. That's a big deal. You get to look at a bigger world. You know, it's not just about you trying to pay your Cablevision bill this month. You know, it's an awesome, awesome place to be.
Mike didn't forget.